separated to make it easier for you. So, first of all, if you look at the top, it talks about the state. So we listed the state the last 3 years. In ELA, this is the proficiency, the number of students who are proficient, the math, and then the science. And then the other chart, which is right under it, kind of gives it to you in a visual way to see where the state falls in all 3 of those areas. When you look under there, that's the district, our district totals. So as you can see in ELA, we went up slightly, we went down slightly in math, we went up slightly in science for proficiency. Still not to the state level. We're still working very hard at some of the things that we're planning for this year and in the future. But just to give you, this is the overall district picture.
We really look at this as our baseline year because this is the first year after the reconfiguration. With everything that happened, and I'm pleased that we went up slightly in some of these areas, considering the change that occurred across the district. And the other thing I think that is positive to point out is when you look at the state numbers, they were dipping a little bit, where ours were going up. So that's starting to move in a positive direction.
So if you look at the second page of that, you will see the ELA, which is on the charts. This is by grade level. So if you look at the 3rd grade through our 8th grade, this is the PSSA scores. Again, we're looking individual grade bands. We look at what our curriculum is and what it's going to be. Those are some things that we are able to plan for. Again, sometimes a visual chart is easier, so the graph, you can see that. The second one is mathematics. Again, we are basically, and Brian shared this probably a few months ago, we looked at these scores, we saw them, and we saw that there was definitely a need for math. So when we said we were going to start with reading literacy in pre-K to 5, we said we can't wait. As you can see, our math scores are really need some work, and we need to really look at what we're giving our students, what standards we're using, what's the eligible content, where are we? So we've been working for both. So the goal will be that next year we will have 2 curriculum programs, both for reading and math, that our teachers will be able to use. They have not had a literacy program for 20-some years. And then for math, we did have the work that we did with GE, with both math and science, if you recall from years ago. However, we are making sure that they're running to the standards. And again, there's the science in 4th grade and then in 8th grade for you to look at. Yes?
Grade 5 shows a good increase. Would you attribute that to any factor, or do you just?
There are some things. Well, some of the things that we've done, and we can talk about it through the PBOS, are with the strategic plan and prior to the strategic plan. We have at each of the buildings ILTs, which is instructional leadership teams, and those teams drive what's happening in their buildings, and then they go to their PLCs, which is professional learning communities, and that's grade levels. So when 5th grade met, they had to look at what their scores were last year. They decided, and in what we do for the PBOS, they do a self-reflection, and then they do an action plan. So when we look at some of the schools that did make improvements, we know that those schools were actually using that process, and so we do see an increase in that grade.
If we learn something from what's going on, that's the bottom line.
And there were a few things that we've done where we've gone to those classrooms to see what's happening, what's working, why is it working here, what can we do for our other schools and for those other students or teachers in those grades, and to try to duplicate exactly what you're saying.
see, I'm really disturbed about the math numbers. When I was looking at page 2, for example, the math proficiency by grade level, what happened between grade 5 and grade 6? It looks as though in 16 and 17, there was a dip in grade 5, an acceleration in 6, and then a dip between 16 and 17 in the grade 7, where they all started to dip. But when you move up to the 2018 numbers, grade 5 to grade 6, is it because the curriculum is so much more difficult? Is it what are we teaching? Trigonometry?
So one of the things we've talked about for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we just put in a new program last year for 6th, 7th, and 8th. So there was a transition from our 5th grade into 6th grade. And part of the 7th and 8th grade, they did go up slightly. They have another extended program called the ALEX program, which is a computer-based program that looks at the skills of where the student is at. So if I'm not at grade level, I'm going to work towards grade level, and we found that in 7th and 8th grade there was some success there. So we are using that in some of the other, we've talked about using that, but specifically for our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, they are using, this is going to be the second year of that program.
18%, no matter how
We
you cut
agree.
it, it's abysmal.
I'm saving the good stuff for next.
Okay.
This is the tough stuff. Achievement is very difficult because we have so much work to do. And when you get to the PBOS, when we show you that, you'll see that there is some successes that we feel really strong that has been happening over this past year and in other years that will support. But our hope is that we're going to see some definite changes once we have, again, strategic plan. Everyone's looking at the same thing and working on the same goals.
Is it possible to see these kind of like just broken out by the different schools?
We do have that data.
Not because I think that anybody's doing anything. I just would be curious to see just where those intersect with other things that we're seeing too, just how that organized.
We do. We have it even by the demographics. We have it by IEP students. We have it by EL students. We have it by race. We have it by, we can, look at the data across the board. And we also can bring some of that to the retreat. If you wanted a more comprehensive one, we can even get Paulette
Yeah,
to.
we'll get binders together for everybody.
Sure.
Maybe we can carve some time out there to really break it into detail.
Thank you.
We did that here one time, a couple of years ago, remember graph, where we were broke it down by demographics. We found it very interesting. I think the board would remember, we just wondered why this versus that.
Absolutely. And we can do that. We can spend the time, if you're interested in doing that, maybe after retreat, we can put some time.
I mean, overall, it's good. I mean, our scores percentage-wise are up like 3.3%. The last one, what you're saying about that was a 30%, 37% decrease in the grade 6, 17, 18. That's worse, negative. But
Right, absolutely. Then on the last page of this, one of the things that Brian had talked about doing for our admin retreat was to really look at some highlights. What are some things that are happening in our buildings from last year that we may want to share out? So we see, first of all, one of the goals is to be at grade level proficiency by 3rd grade. So that's why we put that in there. So as you can see, that's by school, and that's looking at where are our students at 3rd grade, how many are proficient. So that was one first graph that you see. The second graph that you see is the PSSA highlights, which is what we're talking about here. And there are specific schools that we're saying did extremely well. We, again, are looking at those to say what's going on at those buildings, to see if what they're doing can be duplicated or replicated. And then the PBOS highlights that you see at the bottom are what I'm going to talk about. It has to do with growth. There's a difference between achievement and growth. And if you remember last year, we had the baseball scenario. I don't know if you remember that video where we had people on first base, second base, third base, and it talked about if you get a year's growth, then you would stay green. If you do worse, then you're going backwards and you're red. If you are improving and doing beyond a year's growth, you become blue. If you recall that, that's the growth model, and that's what I'm going to share with you now. Do you have any questions about achievement first? I just want to make sure you feel comfortable, and then, as I said, if we need to go, we'll bring more information to you regarding both achievement and growth at the retreat. So the first piece, this is our launch pad. This looks at PBOS, which is value added, and it also will share, and if you look at the pies, sometimes I like the pies, that's very visual, so you can see the difference. This, if I give you the explanation, you can see on this side of it, on the chart, you have the math, you have ELA, and the science. You have it based on this year, 2018. The 3-year average is there. Again, this next piece talks about 1, 2, 3, 4s, and 5s. So the 1s are those students in the state that are from 0 to 20%. The 2s are those from 20 to 40. The 3s are from 40 to 60. The 4s are from 60 to 80. And then the 5s are the highest, which are the 80 to the 100th percentile of students in the state. So that kind of gives you the overview. And if you look at the bottom, it shows you the key that is working with that. The second page is the one that's a little easier to read for me, and I don't know, as you see it, we have more information that we can share. However, when you look at the pie graph, so if we're saying the 1 is those students who are the lowest in the state, 2s are next, 3s, 4s, and 5s. 5s are the highest students in the state. If you look at math on that graph here, all of those are math. So the bottom one is science. You see the ELA is in the middle, and you can see it across. So blues means that we went above the year. So when you see the blue, we're saying they did growth beyond 1 year's of growth. If you see green, it means they maintained growth for that year. So they were at a 1, they stayed at a 1. And if you see red, that means they went down. So we were very, very pleased when you see all those blues, because the blues means we're making progress. We're going beyond where those students are and trying to push and make them and work with them so they gain the skills they need to move into proficiency. Any questions? If you recall, Mr. Spago, that one time you saw a lot of red up there, we're feeling pretty good because we do see red, which is not good, but we are feeling a little bit better that we are seeing some blues. So what the process that we've been doing for our PBOS, in having the state work with us, having our principals working with their ILTs and their PLCs, that process is working to get them to really look at the growth of the student.
Well, overall, there's 19 that have met the standard or above, and 11 that are not above, as far as in the front. I think that's probably an indication that the trend is going up.
That's how, yeah, we've got a lot of work to do.
Versus years
Both.
going down.
Exactly. So this is just the first run so that you could at least see it, and then if you have any questions prior to, we can get some more before the board retreat.
If you look at that, the fifth grade math, or the sixth grade math side, you can see that we've moved the lowest two groups 1 year. So we moved them the average of the typical students in Pennsylvania, and then we struggled with the higher end group. But you can see, just, again, I think all that's gone through as 1 and 2 must be blue. If we look at our achievement data for grade 6, and you see how low that sixth grade is, even though we moved them an entire year, we didn't move them enough, so we have to move them beyond what an average student does if we're going to continue to get that achievement to go up.
And they have it for each school. So the individual schools take this is the district data, but each school takes their own data. They look at their teachers, they look with their teachers, they look at what they're doing, and they try to figure out what are the things that are going to change. What did they do that was very successful? What are some things that we're going to try this year to increase those scores?
Thank you. Strategic plan update, Mr. Toledo.
I just wanted to give you a quick update. We've been meeting regularly with our buildings. Lucy has been working with the building principals and their ILT teams to finalize their building level plans for 18-19. We're now moving into the milestones, and he is going through and approving all those right now. So they actually have a plan in place for this upcoming year with specific goals that they have to reach at specific times during the year. They're working, they have their milestones together for November and December. We're getting together at our data summit with that entire group in December to go over the progress they've made through the month of November and partway through December, and then put together a 12-week plan for the next cycle. So we're real happy with how things are moving. We're seeing a lot of positive discussion. We're really focused on the data and really focused on the goals. The goals we gave them as non-negotiable were based on goals 3 and 4. So they have 1 math goal, 1 ELA goal, and 1 behavior goal. So they had to pick 3 of those to work on for this upcoming year. We have all that data now. Our goal teams actually met and reviewed all the building level plans and made some adjustments to our district level plan to better align that with the buildings, and so that we could better support them in their work as we move forward. So that's where we're at. Am I missing anything?
No, the only thing that I would say that I wrote regarding milestones, they are going to come to the data summit with specific things from those milestones. What are the teachers doing to try to work towards that goal, and what's the administration doing? So they're going to bring data on both administrators' work and teacher work. And I think that will hopefully show some impact.
Okay. Thank you. Board retreat, Mr. Toledo.
I just wanted to remind everybody that we have our board retreat scheduled for December 1st at 8:30. That's a Saturday. I hope everybody can attend. We're working to have our financial data updated by that point so that we can take a look at that. Our curricular needs that we shared with you a couple of weeks ago, taking a look at the facilities need, having a discussion about what all this is going to cost and what we can afford moving forward. So we're looking forward to it. I think we're ready to go, and hopefully we'll be able to leave that meeting with a consensus and hopefully get started working on some of these projects.
Okay. Alberta.
I received a call from the mayor today. He is interested in moving ahead with the residential area that we discussed, and really not doing anything with Florida. Tim has been reviewing with their attorney a proposed resolution. After talking to Mr. Petrunger today, we decided that we should probably wait and do deliberation on that at the same time we do a look at our financial data on December 1st. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that he did request that. I understand that he is moving that forward on city council as a first reading for next week, so I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that as well.
He's moving to residential. Is he going to, I mean,
The one he showed you today, that said it's got more
so it says it's citywide, 10-year residential, 100% 10-year, 50% 5-year commercial, with the job creation component that will allow you to go up to an additional 40% for the period of 5 years.
So that's something we'll discuss on the first, more in depth. Okay. Mr. Wapner, adoption of board rules.
In your packets, you're going to find copies of the current school board rules. Mr. Harkins, being the keeper of the knowledge of many things here in the district, had pointed out last year. He indicated that in the board rules, when annual rule adoption is to be presented at a meeting prior to its adoption. Historically, we've always just approved them at the reorganization meeting. Mr. Petrunger and I had a conversation about it, and it was his recommendation that, in fairness to whomever a new president would be, not that I know anything, don't want to get involved in that, but you should really adopt the board rules after the reorganization meeting, so that when you have new board members that are elected, you have new leadership that has been elected, they can then review the board rules and make that decision as if they want to continue to keep them as is, rather than have the old outgoing board make that decision for them. So the new recommended policy, you'll see, our practice is not to approve the board rules at the reorganization meeting, but to present them to the board at the December regular board meeting for approval in January. Does that make sense? It was just an attempt to continue to make it more fair and efficient.
Thank you, sir. Anything on new business or supplemental?